Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Flavor of the Week, brought to you by Banditos, fresh, made daily. In Flavor of the Week, Kyle sits down with one of our local priests over 4 different episodes to sample variations of a favorite food or drink while they discuss the ins and outs of life as a priest.
Welcome to Flavor of the Week Part 1. I'm Kyle Hyman, here with our guest over the next 4 flavors, Father Tom Shoemaker. Thank you for being here, Father Tom.
Good, thank you, Kyle.
Flavor of the Week is sponsored by Banditos, known for their Mexican food all over the Fort Wayne area. But today we're going to do something a little bit different. We actually talked to our friends over at Cap N Cork, and they've given us 4 different bottles of wine to try. I should mention we will only be sampling these. We won't be finishing them. But they picked out several different ones here. And before we get into talking about you too much, I guess I'll explain. One of these is their own personal wine named after the founder, George. And it's got a nice little description of him here. It's got the little Cap N Cork logo on there. We've got a Franciscan estate, Napa Valley. I guess Franciscan would be the connection there. It's a Chardonnay. And then Our Daily Red, which is a red blend. And then I picked out this last one just because it said Don Bosco on it. It's a Malvasia. I can't even read.
That sounds good to me.
It's imported from Italy.
Okay.
So I imagine that's in Italian.
Can't go wrong.
So actually, Andy Lebemoff chose the first 3 for us from Cap N Cork. He runs the store there. And I'm excited to try these and get to know you, Father.
Terrific. And I picked the right week to be on the air. It seems. Yes. This could have been the asparagus week or something. Right.
Do you have a flavor that you'd like to start with for our first
Let's start with
flavor?
This. The label is so
George.
intriguing. George, yeah.
It's a valiant description of
it is. If you're looking,
Andy's father.
If you're looking for a tribute to somebody, the American, the Macedonian, the son, the athlete, the instigator, the veteran, the revolutionary, and on it goes. It describes a good man.
So, Father Tom, if you don't mind opening that up.
Sure.
While you just read that description of George, the founder of Cap N Cork, what would your description of your wine label read?
I would just say the priest, period. Leave it there. Everything else is very incidental.
Well, I'm always interested in men's path to the priesthood. Yeah. And you've got a fairly unique one that you took a different route than many take, exploring another life, so to speak. Yeah. Some skill sets that most priests don't have, that you have. But before we get to that, what was your childhood like, family life? Brought up Catholic?
Yep. Brought up Catholic. Mom Catholic. Dad was not Catholic, but never missed a Sunday Mass. Was real active in the parish.
Really?
Yeah. So 3 kids and no clues of any kind of vocation kind of things. No priests or sisters in the family and no clues of any kind.
No pressure.
No pressure, not even any. Yeah. Nobody ever suggested that I looked like a good candidate for this.
No.
It was, when it happened, it was a surprise to everyone.
How many siblings?
So, 2 brothers.
Okay.
2 brothers, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what do they do?
So one's a doctor, one's a dentist.
Okay.
So, yep.
So similarly, you followed that field.
Yeah.
And went into dentistry.
That's right. Yeah, my dad's a doctor. And as a kid, I liked the independence of what I did. I liked that he was doing something really important. I liked that he was serving so many people. Mm-hmm. But I didn't want the weekends and the holidays that he had to work.
Right.
And I didn't want the life and death decisions that he had to deal with.
Uh-huh.
So I thought dentistry sounds perfect. 7th grade, I decided that's what I was going to do. And just kind of pursued it.
Yeah.
So went to Wabash College, majored in biology, went to IU Dental School, became a dentist. Uh-huh. And I practiced for 2 years. I practiced for a year at the VA hospital in Indianapolis, and then a year up in Kendallville. I had an office in Kendallville, and that's how I ended up in this diocese.
Okay.
Yeah. After 2 years, it just kind of hit me that I needed something more than I had in life. I was filling a lot of teeth. I was doing a lot of good for people, but it wasn't contributing enough to the world. And my question to myself is, someday I'm going to be 99 and on my deathbed and looking back and saying, what did I do with my life? And I didn't want to answer, I filled an awful lot of teeth. I wanted to see something bigger that I was doing with my life. So with that, I started looking around. And the first place I looked, I called the Peace Corps. I asked if they could use me in Africa or someplace. And surprisingly, they said, no, thanks. I've had a lot of Peace Corps people since then tell me that I talked to the wrong person on the wrong day. But they said somebody with that education usually doesn't stick it out. So thanks, but no thanks. Yeah. My second option was to go down and talk to the parish priest, Father Miller up in Kendallville at the time. I went and just asked him, what do you do all day? How'd you become a priest? What's it like? What's your lifestyle? All that kind of stuff. And he quickly sent me to the vocation director, who was Father Schulte at the time.
Okay.
And within a few months, I was in the seminary just to find out. Went there thinking 50-50 chance this will turn into anything, but went to find out and found out it was a fit. Yeah, I got to the seminary and everything about it just looked like the right fit. So 5 years in the seminary. I was ordained in 1990, doing it ever since. And the big question that I'm going to be asking myself on my deathbed someday, what did you do for the world? I can say I celebrated the Mass. I mean, I absolved sin. I baptized babies. I don't think it gets much bigger than that. So, yeah.
But obviously not a call for everybody.
Oh, absolutely.
So, I mean, it's a very special call for that.
Yeah.
What made you think that you were different? I mean, there are many great dentists. There are many great people serving in all kinds of different occupations. What was it about that wasn't fulfilling for you that might be completely fulfilling and fulfilling their vocation, their call for somebody else?
Absolutely. And to me, it was largely a feeling, just a feeling that
something was
there's
missing.
Something missing, something that bigger than this that I ought to be doing. And then actually being in the middle of it in the seminary and afterwards, just a real sense of peace that this is a fit, that this is where I ought to be. Yeah. I went in thinking I couldn't possibly do public speaking too, but you kind of get used to it after a while, and standing in front of a crowd doesn't faze me anymore, but it did for a long time.
Yeah.
But it was just the Lord calling me to where I needed to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, I want to continue finding out more, but we should probably start digging into this here.
Try George.
The world famous George.
Named after George Blebemoff.
And I'm not even sure what.
It's red. It's dark red.
Kind of wine. You're not so much of a wine connoisseur per se. You were saying, telling
not
me.
At all. Yeah. In fact, I was telling the story. I was once interviewed for a write-up in the Fort Wayne newspaper. Dan and Krista Stockman used to write a wine column in the Fort Wayne paper. They invited me over to their house for a wine tasting and gave me a lot of different fruit wines, and I tried to guess what the fruit was and the rest.
That's funny.
I was quoted accurately in the paper saying, the closer it tastes to Faygo Red Pop, the better I like it.
Yeah.
So
well, we'll see.
my expertise.
Here's the George. It doesn't say any particular blend. I'm pretty sure all of these are going to be of the grape fruit. But oh, that's nice.
Okay.
I have a feeling of the ones that they picked, this might be our best, our highlight here. But yeah,
it's nice.
It's not Faygo, if that's what you're looking for.
It's not sweet.
All right, so you are from Gas City.
Yep.
Grew up there.
Yep.
We're at Wabash, down at IU.
Yep.
And you said you ended up in this diocese because that's where you started doing your dental practice.
That's right, yeah.
When you decided to go into the priesthood, did you ever consider going to, would that be the Lafayette Diocese for Gas City?
Yeah, no, I didn't really. This the first priest I talked to was the closest priest.
Yeah.
And I didn't do a lot of research on this.
But knowing once you are ordained, you're kind of stuck with that diocese.
Yeah. It all worked out.
It all worked out.
So, yeah. And just at the time I was investigating all this, we had a new bishop coming to the diocese. Bishop Darcy arrived right as I was filling out applications.
Okay.
So I was, I think, probably the first one he accepted. Father Heinz and Father Van Kempen were also accepted that same year to go to college seminary. And he sent me out to Boston to St. John's Seminary, which was a great fit, and I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how many parishes have you been in since your ordination?
5, 6, something like that. St. Matthew's, I was there for 8 years. St. Henry and Sacred Heart for 3, then St. Jude for 12, and then St. Therese Little Flower in South Bend for another 3, and now I have a year and a half here at St. Charles.
And when you were at St. Matthew's Cathedral, you were there with...
Yeah, with Bishop Sheets. Bishop Sheets most of that time.
Auxiliary bishop. I don't really know much about him.
Yep. Bishop Sheets was a holy man. He was a Jesuit professor. He'd been the head of the theology department at both Creighton and Marquette. I think he was 69 years old when he got a telephone call out of the blue that he'd just been named bishop. He was ready for retirement at that point from Marquette. But he was put into St. Matthew as the rector of the parish, having never been in a parish before. Mm-hmm. And it led to a very interesting match because I was brand new and he had never done parish ministry before. So I tried to teach him how to do weddings and funerals and baptisms. He hadn't done those. Yeah. The weddings didn't go so well. He did only one of those.
That was your first assignment.
Yeah.
And you're teaching
I'm teaching the bishop how to baptize a baby. He did okay on the baptisms, but he would laugh and tell you his first wedding didn't go so well, so he passed those on to me.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So who was the bishop at the
Bishop
time?
Darcy was the ordinary.
He was bishop.
Yeah.
And then
the Bishop Sheets was stationed at St. Matthew.
Okay.
And just a holy man. He was a humble, holy man who didn't know a lot about parish ministry, but saw it as the greatest thing ever once he got into it and got to meet all those families and meet the kids and the rest.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What's the hardest thing about switching from one parish to the next?
That is the hardest part of priesthood, and that's leaving behind people that you become attached to. Mm-hmm. There are people there that you've been with them through weddings and funerals. You've been through them through medical emergencies. You've been with them through lots of family baptisms and first communion parties and all the rest. And leaving is not easy. Yeah.
You probably do want to disconnect a little bit so that they can start to build that relationship with their new priest.
Yeah.
But also, you probably want to keep in touch as well.
Yeah.
Do you keep in touch much with people from past parishes?
Yes and no.
Yeah.
You got to be careful not to go back for a lot of weddings and funerals and baptisms and things, to leave those for the new, whoever follows, and not to get in the way. So I try to not go back for things. But I do keep in touch with people, and I see people, especially now that I'm back in Fort Wayne. A lot of the St. Jude people are in the neighboring parish, so I see a lot of people that are old friends. And
yeah. So if that's the hardest thing, moving and leaving people, what is the best thing about being a priest?
Well, the best thing is the sacraments. I mean, people come burdened by their sins, and I'm able to give them the absolution and tell them your sins are forgiven. People come with their brand new babies, and I'm able to pronounce this child's now a follower of Christ. You know? Yeah, there's tremendous grace and healing and strength that comes from those sacraments. And as a priest, we get to be right in the middle of that.
Yeah. How do you feel about being at a parish that has a school?
Oh, great. Yeah. My last parish didn't have a school and had very few kids, and I missed that a lot. The kids bring a lot of joy and a lot of energy to the place, and they're just fun. Yeah.
Do you make it into the classrooms very often?
A bit. Not a lot. My associate is in weekly. Father Dennis is in weekly in the 8th grade. I'm in there a bit, but not regularly. But I try to be in the school as much as I can.
All right. Well, you seem to be the priest of hobbies.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to people, everybody tells me about a different hobby that you're into. Yeah. So we'll have to, in the future, talk about some of your hobbies. Yeah. Another thing that I've heard a lot about is the Pope on a Rope. That you do, which I'm excited to talk to you about that, as well as traveling, which I suppose could fall under hobbies. You like to travel a lot?
I've been to a lot of oddball places.
All right, so we've got 3 more wines from Cap N Cork here, and 3 more topics to be discussing in future episodes of Flavor of the Week. Here with Father Thomas Shoemaker, and what do you think of the George here?
George, I like it. I like the label best of all, but it's good wine too.
I'm not a wine connoisseur, but I really do enjoy this.
It's nice.
It's really good. All right, so our thanks to Cap N Cork, also to Banditos, who underwrites Flavor of the Week. Fresh made daily is their slogan, and they have some great Mexican food. And we'll be joined with Father Tom here in 3 more episodes of Flavor of the Week right here on Redeemer Radio.